Hello, my name is Clive from clive5art.co.uk and thank you very much for joining me in the studio. Now, after a short introduction, I invite you to come with me because we're going to be painting on a 20cm by 20cm gallery wrap canvas, and that's going to involve blending and all the normal type of stuff. So if that's something you're interested in, and you can involve the children as well because it's simple painting that they can do, please stay with me and I will see you shortly. And thank you very much for taking up my invitation to join me in the studio. Yes, so we've got a lot to do today. We're starting off with a 20cm by 20cm canvas. It's been gessoed 2 times. I put a small horizon line about 2.5 inches upwards, just from the base. So yes, without further ado, let's have a look at the paints. Okay, as I just said, I've gone up about 3 inches. How I did this is I rested my hand against the side of the canvas. I picked a spot and I just drew down like that, very, very lightly, just to get an idea of an horizon line per se. What we're going to be using today is some processed cyan. You can use a Ceylon blue or whatever. I'd stay away from the ultramarine blue because there's a bit too much of a red tint to it. You want a nice crisp blue. So this what did I say? That one, Ceylon blue. So you can see there's not a lot of difference in them. This is a little bit lighter than that one. So either one of those you can use. We're going to be using some Prussian Blue as well, which is the dark blue, which is very powerful. That's got black in it. The reason I selected that is because we're going to be using black, and again I'm going to be using a Mars black, which has got a lot of blue in it. And I want to introduce you to some pearlescent tinting. Now if you haven't got this, don't worry, don't go running to the expense of buying it, but I just want this painting just to have a little bit of a sparkle to it. So if you've got some, use it. If you want to try some, then just go and buy a small tube first, because you won't use much of this unless you're doing like sparkly type of scenes. But in this instance, I'm going to be using that and introducing you to that as well. Okay, so what I want to do on the palette is I'm going to put a little bit of my processed blue out, like that. I'm going to put a little bit of Prussian Blue as well. This is an old tube, as you can see. I don't want much of that, just a little blob of that. And I'm going to be putting my black here. Again, this is an old tube. And I'm going to be putting my pearlescent tint over there. And the other thing I'm going to be using is titanium white. As you know, I use them in big tubs. This is just plain titanium white. We need to put a bit of that out, like that. I think I'm going to start storing these upside down because it's a lot easier. I don't have to squeeze them out then. Okay, so yeah, basically, again, some a small, short, flat, and just basic detail brushes. I got a small number 1 detail brush, and I've got a number 3 detail brush, and that's about it really. We can use the larger 1 inch as well, but as you can see, I'm trying to keep the brushes very simple if I can. Okay, so we'll just put them one side. I'm going to introduce some of my medium mix formula. For those people that have asked, the ones that are on YouTube, they do tend to settle, so you need to shake them. This is a new one that I've brought out now. This is a flow improving retarder, which I've come up with. That should be, by the time you've seen this, available on my website. And again, we thin that down with a touch of water, like that. Okay, so I'm going to put that one side. And I've got my mister bottle again, which are available. This is a very ultra fine mist. Don't get mistaken that it is not a fine mist. This is so fine, it's unbelievable. Okay, so I'm going to be using that. And the other thing I'm going to be using is some stick and spray. That'll come into its own in just 1 second. So looking at our canvas, all I'm going to do is mix up a bit of grey. So I'm going to bring in a bit of white. I'm going to bring a touch, just a touch of black. And bring a little bit of blue in. We use a bit of the Prussian Blue, not a lot, look, not a lot, just a tidge, just a titch, a little bit more. I want a blue-grey mix. There we go. Nice blue-grey mix. Again, our kitchen roll, as you know. I'm just taking the excess off, or you can use a little mat. And then we'll all over the canvas. Okay, so what I want to do with this now is I'm going to add a little bit more black to that and just darken that colour up. You don't want it too dark, you don't want it too grey. Just bring a little bit more blue in. There you go. A bit more black. And then wipe off your brush. Just pick up a little bit of this pearlescent tinting medium like that, and then just mix that in. Simple as that. Just mix that in there. What that's going to do is going to give you that pearl effect, adding a little bit of the medium to it. And I'm just wiping my brush, not washing my brush. I'm just going to put that down. Now I'm going to get my kitchen roll and I'm just going to tap that into that mix like that. Get it all nice. I'm going to go back to the canvas and I'm just going in the center roughly like that. That's all I need to do there. Now I'm going to get a bit more black, and I do want this a little bit darker, this one. Just alter the value by bringing in a bit of white. You don't want it that black. Again, bring in a bit of pearlescent tinting into that. And put your brush down one side. Get a fresh bit of kitchen roll like that. Again, just tap that in very lightly like that. And try and scrunch it up into a little ball like that. And then go back on you, and then again, just here and there, and there and here. Just a couple of little marks like that. Now chucking that kitchen roll away, I'm picking up another piece of kitchen roll. Again, I'm scrunching that up. That. I'm picking up a bit of black now, and I'm going into that colour once more and darken that bit more. And I do want this to be a little bit more of a on the black side. There we go. And again, I'm tapping that in. There's enough pearlescent in that mixture to just to do the effect I want. Back to the canvas, and then here, there, and here, like that. Okay, so I'm chucking that in the bin. I'm going to wash my brush. I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so what you need to do now is get a little bit of paper or some thin card and get a dish or something that's circular around about that size there. And just for you people that are going to ask me, you're looking at a circumference about 3 to 3.5 inches. Okay, so a teacup. I have not a cup of tea today. I did have one earlier, but I drank it. Look. So that's about the size of a teacup. So put that down on top of a piece of paper or card. And draw around that with a pencil. Now you can get the children to do that, and then what I suggest you do then is cut that circle out. I've done one already. This is one I prepared earlier, children. It's like the old blue PDF for those people that know that in the UK. There's one I prepared earlier. So yeah, cut the circle out. Now this is where we bring the spray and stick in. Now this is well, it's basically, it says it's a crafter's companion. It's a temporary repositional adhesive. In other words, it's very low tack. It's only low tack if you spray about 12 inches away and a light mist on it. Put it on a piece of board or a bit of cardboard or something, like, because the surrounding area will get sticky. You need to just go psst, psst, psst. That's it. Don't overspray, because the more glue you're going to spray on you, the tackier it's going to get, and it's going to start to rip off the paint. That's not what you want. You want the repositional properties of the glue. Rather than having it stick, you want to be able to move it. And you can stick this end onto a bit of greaseproof paper, and you can keep it in the drawer just in case you want it again in the future. Don't throw it away. It's always useful to keep these things. Hence the reason I've got this one. I've used this a couple of times. Okay, there we go. We need to put that on to the canvas. Okay, so what we need to do now is position this just the bottom of that, just below the horizon and over what we have just painted with the tissue paper, and try and smooth that around the edge there, because that's the most important thing. That's where we're going to get some bleed through. Now, here's the fun. We want to get some of our blue mix that we've already made and put a little bit of white to that, get a bit of pearlescent tint into that, and bring that in there like that. And now we need to just go around the edge of the circle. Bring in a little bit of white. We've gone a little bit dark there, so let's lighten that down a touch. That's better. Okay. That's better. We want to go a little bit lighter, I think. Okay. Bit of a glow. There we go. Now to that mixture, let's just make a little bit more of that. Let's add a bit more pearlescent to it, and let's bring a bit of this processed blue in. We'll just make it a nice bluey grey like that. If your brush is getting a bit overloaded, put it onto your little brush wiper off a thing, and then as we did in other ones, we just make another circle there like that. Just keep moving it about like that. If you want to get another brush, if you've got one to hand, it could be a detail brush, it could be anything, and just dampen that a little bit, take the moisture off your brush, and then when you go back to the canvas, there's no paint on this, and just merge those two edges together like that. Just blend them in together like that. Just put that in your hand. Okay, now so we need to go a little bit more blue, a little bit more pearlescent, wipey, bit more blue. So what you're looking for is a definite change of value like that. Definite change of value, that's what we're looking for. I've done this with sunsets, I've done this with a sea in the mum and dad painting, and for any children that are watching this and following along, this is exactly the same way, children. I'm not painting on cardboard now, I'm actually painting on canvas, so you can do exactly the same thing. And come back in with your blending brush, which is damp, and then just blend that colour in like that. blend the sky. It's a sky at the end of the day. That's what it is. Okay, back to our brush. We're putting a bit of blue in now. Darken it up. Touch of black. Oh, it's Prussian Blue. Okay, we'll put Prussian Blue and Processed Blue. There we go. Let's darken that up. Now we just put a bit of black to it. A bit of white. I want a grey. Is that too dark? That's not too bad. Let's put a bit more white to that. So you're looking for a colour that's going to sit well with our blue. There we go. And as I said, I haven't done this one before. I have planned it a little bit, but I'm looking, and I like painting like this sometimes because it just comes from the heart at the end of the day. So the idea is there, but the actual painting process wasn't. So that's what I'm trying to say today. Okay, I'm just putting my brush in the water a minute. I'm just re-wetting this blender, taking off as much moisture as I can, and I'm just going to pull that through like that. And I'm painting it in a circular motion. Like that. Just going to get as smooth as I possibly can. Okay, I'm getting rid of my kitchen roll. I'm giving my brush a short flat, a quick wash. I've just run out of kitchen roll, which is unfortunate. Bit more Prussian Blue now into that darker mix, and a bit more black. I want this to be dark, and I'm just going to go on the edges now. I'm going to blend that in with the brush. I'm just going to keep going over and over and over and over. Just get that nice and smooth. It's called a transition, if anybody wants to know exactly what that is. And then I'm going into some plain black, and I'm just going to touch the edges like that. Taking the excess off, and I'm just going to blend that black in. Like that. Now at this point we need to let that dry, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to proceed to paint the edges of the canvas. Now if you follow the colours that we've actually got on there, and when we do this, this doesn't have to be dead accurate. You just need to get a bit of colour on there really, just to make it look nice. And as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just getting that colour on there. I'm going to mix a little bit more black to that, because this is going to be the top. But that'll be fine for now. And we can always come back to that at a later stage if we really wanted to, but you can see what I mean. Now I need to let that dry. Put some more kitchen roll up. So I'm just going to touch in where I've damaged that there. Okay, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea now. I've just put that on the radiator to dry, or next to a radiator is good. You can use a hairdryer, but I thought I'd share this with you first. You know, when we're in the studio and I like to play music, if you haven't got any headphones, you've got an iPhone or something like that, normally the iPhones got speakers in the bass. So if we put some music on, and I won't do this as music because it's not going to get accepted on YouTube, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load one of my videos now. Here we go. Let's just load that, and I want to show you something. You're slow today, the internet. There you go. It's an old video, just happened to pick. It's got a bit of sound on it, which I know is accepted by YouTube. So what I've done is I've actually got my kitchen roll, because you know I've just run out the kitchen roll, and I've cut a little slot in it. And what you can do to increase the sound is put that in the YouTube just now. The difference. Yeah. What am I doing? Oh. Hello. I'm talking to myself. So if you want to, if you want to just increase that tone on your phone, or you just want it a bit louder, maybe a bit quiet, that's what I tend to do. Because I stick it in the tube on YouTube. But I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. See you shortly. Oh, it's a wet all day out there today. I got my cup of tea now, so yes, that looks quite nice. I think it's looking like I want it to. Now what we're going to do is, if we gently get the little card and pull nice and gently. Now if you've done this right, it won't be too sticky. And then we've got that. Now that looks like a moon. Yes, it does. Stick that on my board. We're going to play around with a little bit of the moon now. So let's get that to look like a moon. Right, let's get a little detail brush now, and we'll go back into this light grey. Let's mix a bit more white to it. Bit of pearl essence. Let's get that in there. Taking the excess off. Touch out our medium mix formula. And then let's just go in and just find a couple of these little whiter areas, and you just over paint in basically on there, leaving, there we are, leaving a lot of that dark stuff, but go in and have a look for these patterns. Yours is going to be so different to mine, and that's what we're looking for. And then just go down that edge like that very gently, and just put in a couple of nice spots like that. As you know, the moon is all full of craters and bits and pieces, and this is just a representation of the moon. So all we're trying to do is make it look like a moon. It doesn't have to be the moon at all. There's not a problem at all, that isn't. Okay. And for this particular instance, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to hide. There's a little bit of that pattern coming through there. I don't like. Now you can get a bit of white, mix a bit of white, mix a bit of the medium mix with the white, and then you can just go around the actual edge of this very, very gently, blend that in to what you've already painted. Just make it a little bit whiter, make it look as if there's a bit of a glow coming off it. There, like that. Be very light. You don't need a lot of paint on this this process. And then just wash your brush, and then just blend that in like that. Add a little bit, touch of water if you want. Get it to run smooth. That's what you're looking for. And if you find you're having a couple of problems with it, get your blending brush like I showed you earlier, and just make sure it's damp, and then just pull that through before it dries on you. Just pull it around like that. And in that instance, we're going to leave that dry a little bit more. I'm just going to put a bit more here and there, like that. You can bring in a little bit of white if you wanted to, just a bit of a highlight. On the one side. Make it look a bit brighter on the one side than the other. There we are. That looks a bit more like a moon now, doesn't it? And if you're going to do galaxies and things like this, this is a good way to actually do a planet. So that's something you want to think of. You know, you don't have to paint all that individually. You've seen how quick we've actually done that moon. And that's the most important thing, is to make a complicated process very simple. Okay, so I gotta get my kitchen roll. I forgot to get my kitchen roll up. So as I'm talking and I'm stripping this plastic off my kitchen roll, you need to practice these techniques, and you're not going to get it first time. I know I can make it look easy, but I know it's not. But I do try to make it as simple as I possibly can. Now I'm getting my short flat. It's all nice and clean, and going back to the palette and bringing that bit of that Prussian Blue in now. Just get those colours all mixed together. Bit of the pearlescent tint in, and then I'm going to find that line we put in place there, like that. Take that line across. Let's make it a little bit darker there. We can make it slightly darker on the one side actually, can't we? Let's make it a little bit darker on this one side. Like that. Try and get that line as straight as you can, and you can put a bit of masking tape on there if you want to. But I'm struggling with this one today. If you find it difficult painting that way, then paint it this way, and then just pull your brush down. You might find it easier to do a straight line like that. And it's all about imperfections. I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so bring this grey in now. Mix that, blend that in. Just bring in a bit of white. Mix a bit of the processed blue, a bit of white to that. Do our edge while we're here. I don't know if you can hear the noises going on outside today. It sounds as if somebody's trying to cut some wood or something. I don't know exactly. And it is a bit noisy. Sounds like a chainsaw or something. I'm not going to waste time on that anyway. I'll do that after. Okay, so let's bring in a bit of white now. And then I'm just going to go straight across. Very, very lightly. Like that. You've seen me mention the small little damaged brush that I always use for my trees, and just distressing that a bit. I'm just banging it down just to splay these out. I'm going to pick up some black, I'm going to mix it into there, and I'm just going to go into this corner now. More black, let's make it a bit darker. Bit of light grey now, just on the edges. Pick that bit of pearlescent tinting on this, just do the edge of that tree. And we can get our strip liner brush, which is the very thinny one, like that. As you know, I don't actually select brushes as I'm in the beginning, because I think it's important that we just go with the flow basically, and I do go with the flow a lot. So just put a chunk in there. And this is a very inky mix. Put a bit of the trunk there, showing there, and a couple of branches sticking out here and there like that. And but my brush is gone. No, Clive. Here we are. Let's put another. Let's just make sure that's really dry. Let's pick up another bit of black. Let's put a couple of bushes here now, I think. And this time we'll just push up, just to balance that off a touch. Doesn't have to be anything special. There you go. And again, picking up that white and our blue, all those colours we've mixed in, and just on the one edge, just bring in a bit of that colour, like as if it's just picking up a bit of that Moonlit glow. Going back into our short flat now, making sure that's nice and dry, and then blending this colours together there. Picking up a touch of black just on the edge of the brush, and then just put a bit of a shadow going in there now. Like that. Okay, pick up a bit of white into the bit of blue, and then just drag that across very lightly, taking the excess off your brush, so cleaning your brush really well and not wetting it, just brushing the moisture off your brush onto a bit of kitchen roll, and just smooth that in place like that. And what I wanted to do now is let this dry. I'm just going to put a touch of darker blue just across the bottom of the canvas there, like that, and a bit of an angle, bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a convex set. Like the sky, like I've done up there. Just, oops. Blend that in like that. That's going to give us a bit of depth. There we go. Let that dry. Okay, now that's dry, I've selected a very fine number 1 detail brush. That's one of the ones I did say I was going to use. And I'm just going to go into the medium mix and a bit of that blue, black, lead grey mix. Don't overload your brush, take a little bit off. And we need to put a circle there like that. Bit more moisture on the brush, and then we're going to put another like overlay then like that. A bit sticking out by there like that. And what we're going to need now is a little triangle by there, and another little triangle about by there, and then get your brush, push, and just drag it around like that. Okay. I'm going to go straight into pure black now, pure Mars black. Bit of medium mix formula, pure black. I want to make this nice and black now. Whoops. Let me just take that. I had a bit of greaseproof paper stuck to my light and it's just come loose. That's why it's gone awful bright. So I'm gonna just finish this bit and just give me 1 second. I'll need to adjust that. Sorry about that. I don't know if it'll happen again, but if it does, it does. A little bit of white now. Let's just add a touch of white into that mix. Just pull it in like that, and then let's just go a little bit by there, down there like that. A bit on his tail there, a bit on his leg there. Put a line like that. Washing your brush. And let's try and blend that in now before it dries on us. We just want that to look like a little bit of a glow. Like that. Okay, strengthen that ear because I've just killed that ear there. That's better. Just gonna get a very loose, thin wash paint. Get your small detail brush, not detail brush, short flat, and now just drag it across very lightly like that. Back into black. Now you can play with this, as I've said in the past. You can put anything you want in this particular painting. You can play with this as much as you like. I'm limited to time. There you go. And all it remains for me to do is get a bit of black paint, go into the corner. I've got a bit of white paint on my brush now. Being a bit of black paint, go into the corner. I am actually going to sign this one today because this will be for sale on clive5art.co.uk. And just strengthening a bit of black. Now you can put anything you want in here. You could put a couple of buildings there if you wanted to. You could make this a cityscape, but it's just a way of showing you how easy it is just to make a nice simple painting, and it doesn't take that long to actually accomplish. And I love these type of paintings. There you go. And that's it. Yes, a cat in Moonlight. Now it could be that it's been raining and the ground is wet, I don't know, but as you can see, just to stop the glare off the camera, as you can see, that's a quite simple, easy little painting. It's been painted all the way around except for the base. Don't ever forget to do the base. I always forget to paint the base. Yes, Never forget that. I've had so many rows about that bit. And anyway, there we are. A cut in Moonlight on a 20cm by 20cm canvas by me, Clive from Clive's Art. So we'll put that on the easel of completion, and we'll have a little look at that on the closing credits. So thank you very much. If that's something you would be interested in seeing another one of these, let me know. And there's lessons Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, Q&A on Thursdays, and we got weekly updates on a Sunday, and there is an email corner which may be going live pretty soon. It all depends if we can get everything adjusted in the studio for that. And all it remains me to say is thank you very much. Please check out the links here if you've got on the computer and you can actually see these little things flashing or lighting up or whatever they do on these on the PCs. Just click on these pictures here and they'll take you into playlists. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that by pressing the red button above my head here somewhere. All the descriptions, all the links are below in the description. Just need to go down there. There's a little upside down triangle down by here somewhere. You just need to click on that little drop down, and then it'll show you everything you need to know. So all it remains me to say thank you very much for joining me in the studio today and taking up my invitation to be here. I will see you on the next one. My name is Clive from Clive's Art. Take care. Bye bye. Nice.